Hello, I'm Tomás Vega.
And I'm Corten Singer, and we're both from UC Berkeley, and we actually took the same double major of computer science and cognitive science. And yeah, we invented WheelSense. Okay, so to dive right into it, how do we approach the invention process? So Tomás and I specifically specialize in the field of human-computer interaction. Now, at the core of this particular discipline is a direct relationship between both the technology we are thinking about and the humans who use them. And so for our research and our inventions, we think it's incredibly invaluable to incorporate human-centered design into the process. And what's really helpful to employ a successful human-centered design process is to have need knowers. And need knowers are essentially the intended users of the device. They're the ones who really know the pain points in detail. And having them on board during the process really allows you to have that feedback and validation throughout, so you're not just misguided and inventing something that you think might work, but in reality you don't know the truth and severity of these pain points in detail. And so a really important point to make is that we engineers can make things work, but we have to make them work right, and we have to make them work for the intended users. So keep that in mind.
So what inspires us to pursue an idea, right? There's many issues in the world. The way we choose them is to find meaningful problems that are unsolved, and it motivates us. In our case, we have a passion for helping underserved communities. We believe that everyone should have access to the same fundamental human rights, and that is having independence. We worked with our friend Danny, who is blind and has a paralysis, and he has trouble navigating. So every time he wanted to go out of his house and get some fresh air, he would have a leap of faith and have like panic. So we saw an issue there. He couldn't go out of his house alone, and we created WheelSense to solve that issue.
Now, what role does creativity play in this entire process? Before diving into that, it's important to define the problem first, figure out what's wrong and what's required to create a successful solution. You might not know what that solution is, but once you have everything laid out and defined, then creativity can come in and really start solving the problem and kind of using all your brain power. But like I kind of hinted at before, it's really to avoid creating problems that don't exist. It's a real issue for engineers to create a device and then look for people to use it. Rather, we should be talking to the people and make something that suits their needs and their constraints. Another really important part of creativity is to brainstorm and explore weird ideas. If you've ever taken an intro to design course, it's kind of awkward when someone says, okay, design something, invent a new thing, and you sit there and have to force an idea out, and you might be nervous or embarrassed to kind of explore weird ideas, but the totally bizarre and abstract concepts lead to the solutions or the inventions that you might not have thought of before. And so I encourage you to explore those weird ideas.
So when did we start inventing? Both Corten and I made our own games, and we opened up toys. But it wasn't until I started programming and playing with electronics that I really felt I could make my abstract and crazy ideas into realities, right? Who knows Goku from Dragon Ball Z? Okay, I feel that technical abilities is like a way of channeling all your ki into like something meaningful and useful. So yes, I encourage learning technical skills to be able to make your crazy ideas into real solutions.
Okay, so what is WheelSense? This is our project. Can I see the laser? As you see, WheelSense is basically an add-on system with a sensor suite to detect obstacles in the current environment. Now, we have various different sensors on board here, but For the most part, the main functionality is this guy detects steps and drop-offs like curbs to avoid rolling off because wheelchairs are dangerous and heavy. These guys right here on the sides detect ramp edges when you're going up an ADA ramp to kind of navigate stairs for wheelchair users. Oftentimes you might have to navigate perfectly straight because it's a thin ramp. So these help you stay on track. And these sensors up here help you detect obstacles in your environment ahead of you. There's also a sensor on back. Unfortunately, there's no photo of it, but it does the same thing. And so using these sensors, basically, you want to enable a sense of spatial awareness, which kind of grants the user a little bit more independence and in a safe manner so that they don't, roll off a curb, for instance, and tilt and fall over and get crushed by the wheelchair. And so that's kind of the hardware side. On the other end of it, we have all our code and all our design files open publicly online, so any curious inventors and developers can hop on board and learn how we did it and potentially collaborate with us if you're interested. So check it out if you have the desire.
Okay, so why is WheelSense so cool? Why? Because it helps people that are basically immobile. They cannot move by themselves. There's about 39 million legally blind people in the world and 246 million with low vision. 1 in 10 of these people are wheelchair users. That means that our technology can help at least 3.9 million people. That's a lot of people that rely on someone else to move. That, for me, is very exciting. What are the implications of WheelSense? So number one is to show people to work on assistive technologies, on meaningful problems, instead of doing the next social app. Number two, the crowdsourcing evolution. Using open source, we can together make a stronger impact. We can also disrupt the assistive technology market, which is monopolized by big corporations that charge whatever they want to charge. And finally, improve the independence and safety of those that cannot move by themselves.
Now, future directions for this project. Before coming up to Boston, I spoke with Danny's brother, and he is basically Danny's caretaker. And so he kind of showed me the mounts that we had given his brother's wheelchair, and they were all crushed. It's sad, but it's a fact of prototyping. And so we really want to improve our mounts so they're less open to or prone to crashing into the obstacles and kind of let the wheelchair rub against the obstacles rather than the actual plastic mounts, which are definitely susceptible to breaking under pressure. Also, we're currently powering our device with a battery pack, an external battery pack, and we'd love to tap into the wheelchair's battery, which has a lot more power and life expectancy. And also, we just want to add more sensors and more feedback to kind of allow for a more complex transfer of information from the wheelchair system to the user as they're navigating the wheelchair. On top of this, we also have another wheelchair project called Smart Wheels. I'll just briefly mention it's a semi-autonomous wheelchair navigation system that essentially aims to follow your friend to alleviate the burden of navigation, to allow users to talk or to observe their environment and instead of focusing too much on driving their wheelchair.
So what are the pieces of advice I would give you? If you can dream it, you can build it. That's what Danny told us, and that's our mantra now. When I was in high school, I asked my teacher to give me a rec letter for Berkeley, and he said, "No, why? You won't get in." I got in, and now I'm going to MIT for my master's. So don't get disencouraged. You guys have great teachers that will encourage you, so that's amazing. Find your passion. When you do things that you really love, you are motivated to put in the time. You know, if you love what you do, then it's no longer tedious to do it. It's a real pleasure. And no pain, no gain. You will not sleep many nights, and it will be hard, and you will want to surrender, but push forward, right? Just do it, and if you, again, are motivated, you will be able to power through. And finally, stand on the shoulders of giants. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. There's so many things already being done. Use them. Use open source and share your work with the world, and see beyond by standing on the shoulders of giants.
And our last slide is our acknowledgements. We'd just like to thank specifically Danny and Stanford, his brother, and Chris Myers, the lab manager of the Citrus Invention Lab at Berkeley, and our 2 professors, Jordan Hartman and Edward Lee, for supporting us along the way. Yeah, we should probably